I got a wedding invite from my girlfriend, and the groom's name was mine, but with someone else's birthday. Okay, I know how that sounds, but that's literally how it started, with an email. I'm 29, I live in Seattle, and I'm one of those people who never deletes anything. Not because I'm organized or anything, I'm just weird about it. And that random habit ended up mattering. It was a regular Tuesday morning. I'm scrolling my inbox, see one of those "you're invited" emails, the kind you get for weddings, and I'm about to trash it. Then I notice the subject line is just "save the date." No names, no context. That alone felt off. So I open it. It's the whole thing. Beige flowers, gold font, all that Pinterest wedding template energy. And right there it says, Maya Collins and Ethan Parker Austin, Texas, August. My girlfriend's name is Maya Collins. My name is Ethan Parker. My first reaction was honestly a laugh. Like, okay, glitch, wrong merge field. Someone screwed up the template, and then I saw the line underneath, the groom's date of birth, same name, same last name, not my birthday. And that's when it stopped being funny. Because a week earlier, Maya had told me, very casually, I hate weddings. I don't want any of that. And now I'm looking at an actual invite with a venue and a date. I didn't storm into the bathroom like, explain this, mostly because I know myself. If I come in hot, she either shuts down or we have a fight and I still won't know what's real. So I did the annoying thing. I started digging into the email. At the bottom, in tiny gray text, it said, this invitation was forwarded to you by Mom. Mom. Cool. Whose mom? Her mom. My mom? Some random mom? There was also an RSVP number, and for some reason I called it from my work phone, because I guess that felt safer in my brain. A guy answers. He sounds tired and irritated, like he's been dealing with this all day. I say, hey, I got this invitation. I think it might be a mistake. There's a pause, then he goes, which Ethan is this? And I just froze for a second, because, what do you mean, which Ethan? I go, uh, Ethan from Seattle. Another pause, then, oh, you're the other Ethan. And he hangs up. I'm sitting there holding my phone like it's about to explain itself. And then a text comes in from an unknown number. Please don't call again. She didn't tell you? She didn't tell me what? And right then Maya walks out of the bathroom like nothing is happening. Wet hair, my t-shirt, coffee in hand. Totally normal. And she says, super casually, did you see the email? I instantly lie, just out of pure panic. What email? She looks at me way too hard, like she's checking my face for something. The invite, she says, and I go, Maya, what is this? Here's what messed me up. She didn't deny it. She didn't act confused. She didn't do the whole, I don't know what you're talking about. She just said, please don't make a scene right now. Give me 1 hour. Then she walked into the bedroom and shoved a chair under the door handle, like she was locking herself in. And in that moment, I remember thinking, this doesn't feel like I got caught. This feels like she's scared. An hour later, she comes out fully dressed, backpack on. I'm going to a friend's. I'm like, are you going to explain this? She says, I will, just not right now. If we talk right now, you'll make it worse. Worse for who? She looks me straight in the face and goes, for you. And she leaves. So now I'm alone, spiraling. And I do what every person in a messy story swears they won't do. I start trying to figure it out myself. I find the wedding website link. You know the usual tabs. Our story, registry, wedding party. I click Our Story, And there's a photo, Maya smiling, next to a guy. And I swear to you, it looked like me. Not kinda similar, not same vibe, like me, except something was off. Like he had a scar on his eyebrow that I don't have. I'm zooming in like an insane person, trying to convince myself it's photoshopped. Then I read the caption, Ethan and Maya met at Pike Place Market during a rainstorm. Pike Place Market is in Seattle, and that's where Maya and I met. So now it feels like someone took my actual life and pasted it into a wedding template. I open our text thread and scroll all the way back to the beginning, and I find her first message to me. Ethan, it was nice meeting you today. I hope your flight isn't delayed. My flight? I wasn't on a flight. I hadn't flown anywhere. And I remember back then I joked about it like, I'm not flying. You mixed me up with someone else. And she replied, right, sorry, habit. At the time, I didn't think anything of it. Now it hit me like, she hadn't made a mistake. She'd done it before. I'm not proud of what I did next. I hired a private investigator. Yeah, I know. That sounds dramatic. But I was losing it and I needed one solid fact. One thing that wasn't my brain making up theories at 2 a.m. I sent him the wedding site, Maya's name, and the photo of the other me. A few hours later he texts, this guy is real. Name, Ethan Parker. Lives in Tacoma. Works in logistics. Tacoma is like an hour from Seattle. Then he sends another message. You should sit down. And he attaches a public record, a marriage license application. Maya Collins plus Ethan Parker filed 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we were picking a show to binge and arguing about takeout, and she was also filing paperwork to marry some other Ethan Parker. That night, Maya calls me, and she sounds weirdly calm, like she's rehearsed this. I know you're digging, she says, and I'm like, you literally left and told me not to make it worse. What did you expect? She sighs. I didn't cheat on you. I'm like, what do you mean? I didn't sleep with him, she says. I didn't kiss him. I shouldn't have even been near him. But it got out of control. And I go, who is him? My clone. And then she drops this line that made my brain just stop. He's your brother. I actually laughed because it sounded like the dumbest excuse possible. I don't have a brother. She goes, you do. You just don't know. And he doesn't know either. Then she adds, and your dad isn't who you think he is. And she says my father's full name, including a second last name I'd never heard in my life. That's when I sat down on the floor, because that detail was too specific to be random. Then she says, he paid me. Who did? Your dad. He hired me to find you and to find his other son. He wanted you two to meet. And I don't even know how to explain the feeling. Like, yes, I was angry at her, but suddenly it also felt like my whole relationship was part of somebody else's plan. I ask, so the wedding was, what, a trap? She says, it was a reason to gather people, a happy excuse, no courts, no dramatic, hi, I'm your brother. And then she says really quietly, but then I met you, the real you, and I messed it all up. For a second, I almost believed her, because a lot of weird little things suddenly made sense. Why she mixed up details sometimes, why she always asked about my family and documents, why she took pictures of me mostly from one side. But there was one question I couldn't get past. If you didn't want him, why did you file a marriage license? And she just says, because it was in the contract. The contract. Great. And right after that, my PI texts me again. Found bankruptcy filings under Maya Collins. Also, she has an alias. An alias. I ask him what it is. He sends it. And that's when I realize Maya Collins wasn't even her real name. So I call her again. What's your real name? Silence. Maya, she says. No, your real name. And she finally goes, Aaron. At that point, most people would be like, okay, end of story, I got played. But here's the part that makes me feel sick even saying it. I realized I wasn't fully honest either. I go into a closet, pull out a box of paperwork, and there it is, my marriage certificate. I'm married, 2 years. My wife lives in London for work. I'm in the States. And we've been in this weird pause where nobody wants to say the word divorce out loud. But legally, I'm married. And I never told Aaron/Maya that directly. I told the story in a way that made me sound basically free. So yeah, I was furious about being lied to. And at the same time, I realized I had built this relationship on a lie that was convenient for me. A week later, I drive to Tacoma to meet the brother. I'm expecting a confrontation, some emotional scene. I don't know. I had even played out what I'd say in my head. But a woman in her 50s opens the door and says, "You're here for Ethan? He's not coming." I'm like, why? She looks at me like I'm late to something I didn't know I was invited to. Because he was never going to marry her, she says. And I'm just standing there confused as hell. Then she goes, that wedding wasn't for him. And it wasn't for her. It was for you. For me, to get your father to you both, and to get you to sign what he needs. And that's when it clicks. The other Ethan wasn't some clueless guy being dragged to the altar. He'd already been through this. He'd already met the dad. He knew what kind of person he was dealing with, so he disappeared. No drama, no goodbye, just gone. Later, my PI finds out the whole "your dad is dying" thing was a lie. The guy was alive and bouncing around court cases in Nevada. And the grossest part, Erin didn't even know the full story. She thought she was doing a messed up favor for a dying man and getting her debt cleared. She was being used too. There's no neat ending. I called my wife in London and told her the truth. Not about Erin, but about everything I'd been avoiding. We didn't magically get back together. We also didn't explode into some giant fight. It was more like we finally admitted we'd been pretending for a long time. Erin sent me one message. I'm sorry. If I could go back, I would have stopped before Pike Place. And then she vanished. And the wedding invite is still sitting in my inbox. Not because I'm nostalgic, just because sometimes I open it and think about how fast you can believe your life is yours until you realize somebody else has been moving pieces around for a while. And yeah, ever since then, I check birthdays on everything, even if